Hey everybody. So welcome back. Sorry I missed last Friday night, but welcome back to another Gambill Data AMA. We do these on Friday evenings at 10 p.m. Eastern. And I've got really some great and exciting updates about things that I've done this past week, things that I am going to be doing this following week and coming up actually the next several weeks. A deep dive that I'm going to be getting into and just going to be talking to you all about it and get your feedback along the way. I always love hearing what everybody has to say and everybody's ideas and what's on everybody's mind as far as what they need to learn and what they need to know in order to feel like they're progressing in their own data learning themselves. So tonight, I want to start out with some of my updates. We are. Uh, and we're going to be talking a bit about AI and data engineering and the article that I wrote in Medium, as well as the video that I published on the site as well. So those are the things that we're going to be talking about tonight. Uh, you know, AI and data engineering is really hot right now. There just feels like there is a new tool every day that's being launched. So, just going to be talking about some of the tools that I've come across and highlight a handful of those tools. Some are free and some are paid. So, just a heads up on that. So, just to start out with, we are I'm wrapping up working on a really big project for an aviation uh, company and super excited about that. We're approaching launch and incredibly excited about the future of what that looks like. In addition, looking at taking on a new client, potentially a bank client, and helping them with a informatica integration, and super excited about helping them migrate from on-prem into the cloud with their new tools, so and teaching them about informatica. Super excited about those things. Um, and, and like I said, we've had a few videos that have been released this past week. If you all haven't taken a look at it, the videos that I've released recently are, again, I talked about. We're gonna just mention the five different kind of tool types of AI and data engineering here in a moment. But that was a video that I launched earlier. I actually think it was 2 weeks ago. Did a video on some automated staging, talking about trying to teach you all about how to create classes and functions in Python and how you could automate some of your staging and schema inferences from your new data files that you're pulling in. Talked about another video on schema drift, which was really cool. I thought it would help y'all. And but talking about schema drift and EDA and what EDA is, and again, walking you through how to use Python to automate and to help speed up some of that EDA and schema drift identification, especially when you're importing large quantities of historical information, as you often do in a new project. Um, did a video that's going to be coming out Monday on some SQL hacks that you should some that you should never use, and a handful that are genius, that are great. And so be looking out for that coming up on Monday. So I see people popping in. Super excited to have y'all here. Let me know that you're here. Say hi. Uh, Let me know where you're from. Those of you that have been here, I know who you are. So super excited to have y'all here. Thank you. All right, let's get into a little bit of AI and data engineering. So it's just going to take a little bit of time here talking about it's five essential kind of AI groups of tools, and talk about a free tool and a paid tool in each of those categories. Um, why does this matter? You might be asking me, you know, I'm afraid that AI has taken my job. why does this matter? It matters immensely because AI is not taking your job. What you need to do is figure out how you can incorporate AI. It's a new tool, use it as such, right? So figure out how you could incorporate AI in your day-to-day careers, in your day-to-day learning, in order to kind of speed up and get ahead of your competition when it comes to who you're competing with for jobs, as well as who you're competing with for those higher raises, right? It's that time of year where a lot of people maybe just got their merit increases. So a big piece of merit increases is the value that you provide to the business, right? And so being able to communicate that value to the business is something that I talked a little bit about in my video that I did on moving from a analyst to an engineer. So be sure you take a look at that too if you get a chance, if you haven't yet. But it, that's a big piece, right? And AI, I think, is going to be a big piece moving forward because you could use AI again to more quickly be able to provide that business value, right? You could speed up your integration, speed up your kind of your life cycle of your projects by incorporating some AI tools in order to speed up a lot of your coding. So, without any further ado, let's talk about those. What are these kind of 5 groupings of AI tools that I'm referring to? So, hey, I apologize. I have a little bit of a cough, so bear with me tonight. And just getting over the flu and been installing installation this week. So I have a little bit of cough, so bear with me. But the 5 AI groups of tools. First one is Auto ML, right? Auto machine learning, uh, where you can really use these tools to tune parameters and kind of auto learn, right? Um, Thank you, Nathan. Uh, Yes, for those of you just jumping on, I just mentioned that I have a little bit of cough kind of remaining from installing installation and from getting over the flu. Um, Insulation, not installation, insulation, and getting over the flu. For those of you that don't know, Tamiflu is an amazing drug and helped me to kind of move through the flu quickly, but still hit our house last week. Anyways, so AutoML is one of those is kind of the first big group, right, of AI tools that are coming out. H2O has been out a long time, been out a while, but has is incorporating AI into a lot of their products. Is a big one. Data Robot is another great Auto ML tool that's out there, and I'll bring them up here on the screen here in a couple minutes. Um, and the next grouping, I want to highlight these 5 groups, and then we'll get into what the actual tools are. Next grouping is AI-powered data cleaning. So there's starting to be these AI tools that are starting to come out more and more, where they are doing a lot of the data cleaning automatically for you via AI. Again, some of these tools are new, not perfect, but none of them are going to be perfect, but still can automate a lot of that work for you so that you're really don't have to be the data janitor and you can let AI handle some of that messy data, a lot of that messy data. The next one is AI driven data visualization. Google Sheets has a lot of add-ons, a lot of things that you could add on to it where it will just in plain language, you could ask it for something based on the data that's in some of the Google Sheets, and it will create visualizations for you. So that's really cool and free. ThoughtSpot is a paid tool where you could get into some of that as well. So you could really serve up a lot of the visual insights kind of on demand, right? Your BI analysts can, you know, probably more elegantly word things than maybe some of your business users, and and they could help out. But even business users could get in there and ask for a handful of things and um, create some visuals pretty quickly. So, and then the three, four, the fourth one is data pipeline optimization and monitoring. And here we're talking about Airbyte and Monte Carlo. Airbyte's kind of the free open source tool. Monte Carlo's a paid tool. Uh, So these are tools that can that go through and kind of watch your pipelines and proactively alert and create some self-healing pipelines. So really cool things going on there. And then finally is the one that I am always super excited about and continue to learn more and more about, and what that's Mage AI, which is really kind of an all-in-one platform where it takes all those different uh, groupings and encompasses them all in one tool, all in one place. Really can do almost everything. It does monitoring, it does governance, it does security. It has uh, just a ton of stuff. ETL, obviously with the pipelines and stuff. Um, DevOps. It helps you with designing your architecture. Really has a ton of stuff in it. Super excited about that. So, what are some trends to watch as you're looking at? Oh, here we go. Self-healing pipelines. My Marine buddy was joking with me about self-healing AI today. Nice. Uh, it People have been using this term self-healing pipelines for a long time, or for a while. So self-healing pipelines sometimes is not necessarily an AI concept. Self-healing pipelines even um, are pipelines that will continue to retry, right? They hit a failure, and depending on what that failure is, it understands that yeah, thanks. It understand, depending on what the error is, because sometimes you run into like a network blip, right? And you just lose connectivity to like a database, maybe for a second, maybe for an hour, and it just needs to retry. And so having your pipelines that are set up to be able to retry and continue on from the place that it kind of failed at is important in data engineering. It's very helpful in your orchestration. Um, but again, depending on the situation, sometimes the file's late and not there yet, and you need the orchestration to kind of pause until it is, because your downstream stuff won't work right until that data's there, or or it vice versa. You might, depending on how you need your self-healing to work, you might need your orchestration to carry on and come back to that after it finishes the rest of it or something. So, you know, different ways to kind of incorporate self-healing within your pipelines today without AI. But AI really helps to enhance a lot of that concept of self-healing pipelines, because it can watch, monitor, identify what the error is, incorporate even sometimes could even incorporate a code fix into your pipeline, or insert a process into your pipeline in order to fix whatever that error was, and then get it to move on. And depend some of these tools, it depends on how you set that up, right? You could set it up so somebody has to go in and manually approve that change. It might alert you and say, hey, there was an error, this is my suggested change, can you approve it? Just like you would do a PR today for your peer, or one of your junior developers that you work with. Um, and for those of you that maybe don't know what a PR is, it's just a peer review where you're looking over somebody's code and making sure that it makes sense, right? Making sure that logically it makes sense. In this case, it's AI that's created code. And again, a lot of times you still want to have those processes in place where somebody is reviewing that code and make sure that it makes sense. Because with AI, the AI might be able to programmatically make it make sense, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it understood the business context, right? It may be putting in some logic that breaks some business logic down the line, or some business context that needs to be there. And so having that check in there is important, and some of these tools have that, do incorporate that. um, so big thing with kind of self-healing pipelines. um, you know, some trends to watch is AI as a coding copilot, such as GitHub Copilot, um, and such as Genie. Right, in Databricks, we have Genie now, which is really amazing. In VS Code, you can actually install a extension for ChatGPT or for Anthropic, and it can come in and help you with your code. Um, and then we have, predictive and proactive data workflows. So, one of the things that I'm personally working on and researching is creating an AI agent that will monitor an existing pipeline, and then when you have schema drift, again, schema drift is something that we talked about in one of our videos this past week. But the AI agent that I'm working on will identify that schema drift, review the file, extract out of that file what the change was, what that drift was, go ahead and process what it continues to know to process, and then sets aside that data so that you can review it and decide if it needs to be incorporated or not. Um, and then even creating a branch of the logic where it will actually adapt that schema based on the schema change that it sees come through. So that way your pipeline, my concept would be that way the agent would monitor the pipeline, adjust the pipeline or the data file as needed, in order to continue your orchestration, so that you don't have any gap in your coverage as far as so that there's no business impact to any of your data or your files or your reports, and you're still alerted to what's going on and can adjust as needed. So that'll be something that we do later, and I'll demo in another video once I finish my AI agent. Um, so yeah, as always on these Friday night calls, let me know what your questions are. Let me know what's going on in your data journey. Love to hear from you all. Again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. So, yeah, be sure to. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Nico. Um, and yeah, but yeah, any questions about data engineering at all, let me know in the chat. But I'm going to share my screen real quick and kind of show you some of these AI tools that for these categories that we're talking about. I'm going to, yeah, as soon as I finish the agent, I finished researching and have started writing the code, and I'm going to use Anthropic as my backend. But I'm researching to try to figure out. I just got access to 4.5 in my ChatGPT 4.5 in my um, ChatGPT Pro account, and so I might flip to 4.5 for my uh, for my AI piece. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to test kind of both, because I have the Claude 3.7, or I've got the ChatGPT 4.5. So it's either Sonnet or 4.5 I'll probably use. Anyways, but yeah, as soon as I finish it, I'm gonna uh, do a demo and I'll upload it. But yeah, very cool. So let me share my screen. Share this other window over here. All right, so this window here is so this is Mage AI, right? This is the Mage AI website, and it just wanted to kind of walk through these are the different things that are going on here. It does some intelligent data engineering. It'll write production ready code. Uh, and again, incorporates a lot of AI in all these tools. It's really been cool to play with this. Um, Again, one platform for all of your data pipelines. There are a ton of connectors and integrators here that helps you to integrate with various tools and a lot of different, as you see here, a lot of different languages you could use. You choose Python or R. You could do machine learning. You could build out do all of your orchestration. You could do batch or streaming. Um, you could build reusable pipelines again, very quickly. Again, because AI is there and it really helps you to speed up your integration. It has DevOps command center, so you have all of your DevOps stuff as far as keeping track of your different branches that you may have, and as far as keeping, uh, the bigger it is, the harder of a time AI has keeping up. I would agree. I would agree. Um, I mean, that doesn't apply to the mage piece. It because it incorporates a lot of just normal data engineering processes and tools, and just incorporates the AI piece for kind of the machine learning and the kind of predictive, like super IntelliSense. For those of you that maybe are familiar with what IntelliSense is, um, you have again architect helps you with architecture, um, setting up triggers, things like that. Again, familiar patterns. Again, you're dropping tech, task boxes in, and you're programming each of those task boxes similar to other ETL tools. You'd have you do it as a self-hosted, or you do it as a pro. On the fully managed platform, the pro is like $100 a month. But if you have a team, it's well worth that $100 a month. Um, I do want to, where's it at? There it is. Uh, AI, right? So this kind of shows you here, where you kind of tell it, okay, this is what I want to do, and it will start coding it for you. So not only will it code it for you, but it will do like the all of your hierarchy stuff, all of you could see it kind of does some of your where everything came from. The word just escaped me that I want to use, but it shows you the full path of where the data came from, where it's going to, and how it's getting there. Um, oh my god, I can't believe I lost the word, but we'll move on. Um, but really, again, your 30-second prompt and automate 4 hours of work. It's gonna replace me. Nah, nah. This is called Mage, Mage AI. Uh, Copy. I'll put it in the chat. Paste. Nope, nope. Um, but it is really cool. You can get a pro license for like 90 days, and get in there and play with it. And it's got it and you get in there and play with it in the environment, and there's kind of um a group environment that you could go into and see what everybody else is doing too. So it's really neat. Um, again, for engineers or for data teams, it really focuses on uh, a lot of the engineering tools, but it's really cool. Um, Talked really quickly about H2O. H2O has kind of been around for a little minute. Um, and but it um, as far as AI tools, it's incorporating a lot of AI in a lot of its auto ML stuff. Again, this is kind of the free side of that auto ML piece, with it being more open source. And then you have where's did I not pull up the data robot? I didn't. Let me go out. So data robot is again an auto ML tool, but it also has, you know, you could see here it's kind of bragging on itself, right? It has 10 times faster model delivery, 75% faster predictions, 6.5 million increase in sales pipeline, uh, 33% fewer customer calls because you're closing a larger percentage of your calls. Um, so this is again, this is a paid tool, so this is not free, but it is really cool. Be sure you go out and check that out. Um, how do I keep myself updated with latest tech? Uh, honestly, uh, um, part of it is LinkedIn, just the people that I follow on LinkedIn and seeing the things that pop up from them. Part of it is I am part of um, a freelancer community, a consultant community for other data engineers and data professionals. And so they're, in some of those chats, they talk a lot about this stuff. And uh, and and then some of it is just researching for the videos that I do, and going out and figuring out what's out there and figuring out what. Sorry, my pump is angry with me. I diabetic and have an insulin pump and it gets angry. Okay. Um, but a lot of it is researching what, yeah, for the videos, and then the different kind of communities that I'm part of help me to stay up on what's going on and what's hot and what's not, and what's really being used by businesses. Uh, but that's a lot of it. And as far as AI, so there's this cool. So I will say that as far as AI goes, um, there is a cool subscriptions. Where are you at? Yeah, daily brief. Here, the AI daily brief. So this guy does a just a daily. Um, uh, it's a podcast and it's on YouTube as well. But like daily, he comes on here and talks about different um, AI things that are going on and what his take is, and it's so I listen to him every day. It's like 15 minutes, uh, and it's Monday through Friday. On Saturdays, he does a little bit of a longer one. Um, but yeah, that's it's really neat. It neat to hear about what's going on. Uh, Nathan, are you asking about what is my latest AI take? Uh, I have concerns about AI right now. Not about. Let me clarify that. I don't have concerns about AI's ability to do things any more than I already had. Um, I still think that AI you still have to keep an eye on and check. It's not by any means not perfect. Doesn't give you the right code most of the time. it gets you 75% of the way there, but doesn't quite take you all the way to 100%. Um, and it, thought that this is thought spot. Um, and you have all tricks, but put myself back up here. I think that I still think that AI is not coming for our jobs, right? Especially for data engineers, um, or even analysts. Um, AI is not coming for our jobs. It is. I have concerns about ethics and governance when it comes to AI. That's my right now. That's my concern. Um, and that's just because of the current administration, right? There's just some politics and all that, and there were things being put in place to help to um, ensure that ethics and AI and governance were being considered. And now, with the impression that China is getting closer to us from a development standpoint, there is, and with the new government administration in the US, I just have concerns about making sure that we have some ethics in place with AI. As far as software engineers and AI, um, I mean, I don't think it's going to take your job, right? I don't think it's going to take a software engineer's job. I think that it will. Um, I think just like data engineering, just like other tools that have come along, you have to adapt. It AI is not taking a software engineer's job any more than cloud computing took DBA's jobs, right? There's still DBAs out there that refuse to learn cloud technology and are have been lucky enough to stay in companies and businesses where um, they are still on prem, right? Still on premises, and so they're still using a on-prem SQL server or Postgres or whatever the case may be at Oracle. And so yeah, AI is not coming for software engineers jobs any more than cloud engineering um, took DBA's jobs. That's mine. It's my 2 cents. Yeah, I mean, Nathan's got a point, right? AI does is getting pretty close at making pretty decent front ends. Um, but again, I think there's still a point where a human touch is needed for it, particularly for making it specific to the business, right? Making it really honed in on that business's users and stakeholders. Uh, because for a good front end dev, you're communicating with those stakeholders and know specifically what they want, and specifically, especially if you've worked with them for a while, you know how they want things, right? And you know how to develop for that user base that you have so that they use it and they like it and it's effective, um, which is important for data engineers as much as it is for software engineers. Ethics and AI is, yeah, it's such a big thing. So personally, um, so kind of anxious about what the big push for speed is going to do to ethics and AI. And I'm not just talking about we're not just talking about here, you know, the fact that they're trying to incorporate AI in military aspects, right? I'm talking about speeding up development of AI to the point where when a credit card company introduces AI into their system, is it going to start to, again, without kind of the ethics and the governance in there, is it going to start pushing out either accidentally or on purpose push out private information to other companies or other people because it has decided that, oh, hey, AI comes in and makes a decision based on data and says, "Hey, I could increase our profits by 10% by selling this customer list to this company over here, and I'm going to go ahead and do that because it's a good business decision." It just the silly things for that go into my head that are probably not going to happen, but you strip out ethics and governance out of systems. I mean, whether that be human based, human in the loop systems, or it be AI systems, and shady stuff like that starts to happen. I mean, that happens. So yeah, yeah, Nathan, absolutely. Humans are still going to be in the loop for quite a long time. Uh, I agree. I know it'll be integrating in my workflows to some degree for the next while. Now, yeah, I mean, I think I do a lot of work in Databricks, and it is Genie in Databricks does a good job of kind of predictively knowing um, what I want to type next. Sometimes it grabs like today I was doing something, and like the autocomplete and like it kind of gives you the autocomplete kind of in gray as you're typing, right? And it will suggest something based on what it thinks you're going to do. Um, and it won't always grab the right variable, won't always grab the right function. Um, and so those are things to you still have to be in the loop. Um, Looking at a comfy front end like image video AI models. Okay, very cool. If you have any examples, Nathan, I'd love to see them. Anything that you've been looking at, if you have a link, I'd love to take a look. Um, so very cool. What other questions y'all have? Again, thank you all for being here Friday night. Sorry I wasn't around last week. Um, just not feeling great. So yeah, whatever questions y'all have. Oh, here we go. Um, Let me know down in the chat what questions you have, uh, and we'll talk about them. And it kind of hit my limit on. I could go back to showing you all the AI tools that we were looking at, but at this point, usually we have, and we have a handful of people. I'd love to hear what questions you have about data engineering or about AI tools or about how AI is going to impact data engineering. Uh, Code bases interface with various visual models. Cool. When you get something going, we'll have to have you back on and get you to show everybody. Yeah, yeah. Back to data though. Yeah. Uh, so cool. So I will say that it there's code rabbit 2 out there that is like AI PRs, which is an interesting concept. Like, I don't know that I'm ready for AI to do my PR yet, right? I'm more at the other end of the spectrum where I'm ready to PR some AI's code, right? I'm not. I'm still PRing AI's code. I don't want AI to PR my code. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Nathan. When you get to the point when you have something to show, you let me know, and we'll have you back on. Do I take online courses? Sometimes, if it's something like I said, I follow a lot of people on LinkedIn, a lot of other AI, AI, a lot of other data engineer and data professional consultants and professionals. And when I see that they completed a course or something, or I see that they're recommending a course, I'll go and check it out. Um, and you'll see me every now and again suggest some Udemy courses in my video descriptions, and a lot of those I've taken myself, um, and that's why I'm recommending them. A lot of what I'm recommending, big thing that I'm recommending is right now is kind of, especially with the big push from Microsoft into Fabric. There's a great um, Udemy course that prepares you for that Fabric um, test. In addition, like Microsoft does these, yeah, they just finished to the last 2 days. Microsoft does these free like training sessions, 2-day training sessions where you can go through, and for free, it's a live training session, and they do it just ongoing all the time. And you have to register in advance, but the cool thing with these training sessions from Microsoft is that at the end of them, if you go through and sit through the training, you get a 50% off voucher for the actual certificate. So it's really cool. Um, but yeah, I do take some online courses as well. Yeah. It's perhaps inspired by Gambill Data to be more sticky in terms of what I learn, take away from it. Yeah. I it I personally think that actual projects are much more meaningful than um the courses themselves. But that's the type of it has a lot to do with the type of learner that you are, right? For me, I'm a learn by do person, and so I need a practical project to implement what I've been studying before I get a full grasp of it, right? And so for me, it's that. But some people are learn by watch, and some people are a combination. You probably picked up from my comment. I'm a little bit of a combination. I study something and then I find a practical use for it so that I could actually do it. Um, I'll get you some. I'll get you the um, the links. It's been a long time since I've done the machine learning one, so I need to go out and remember what it was. It's been 4 years, so I need to go out and figure out what it was. And there's probably a better one out there. I'll see if I can find you one though. As far as math goes, I really don't know. I'm not sure. I'll ping my communities though and see if I can find some good ones for you. Yeah, interview prep stuff is super useful. Um, yeah, there's some, as far as math goes, there's some great statistics ones out there. If that's the level of math that you're at, um, get sponsored by Brilliant. Yeah, I agree with Nathan here. I didn't get the impression that you're a beginner for those things. Um, but maybe you are, and no shade if that's the case. Uh, yeah, I think that the interview prep courses, there's a there's some great ones. Some of my favorites are there's a couple of videos on there's one that's on how to communicate technical jargon into um, non-technical audiences, and that's a great one because it's important. um, Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Raphael. Uh, Threw me off. Got me derailed. So honored. Um, okay. Yeah, stats is useful. Oh, I was saying there's one video, there's one Udemy course in particular that talks about how to take technical jargon and communicate it to a non-technical audience. And then there's one on how to uh how to show and actually communicate the business value of what you're doing, right? And how to really be able to sell yourself by selling the business value of the things that you're doing, especially for this one in particular is for data engineers and data professionals. And so being able to actually translate the pipeline and the data that you're grabbing and how, and translating what it means to the business as far as increased sales or as far as decreased uh, research time or decreased reporting creation time, um, then thanks, Nathan. Um, then it, I, y'all are cracking me up. That's important. Learning how to communicate your business value back to of what you're doing back to the business, because so many businesses see data, especially data engineering, as a cost, right? And it's a cost. We're a cost, and sometimes it's hard for the business to see the actual value that we're delivering because they see it from a analytics standpoint, right? They maybe see it as, okay, we have to have this, but being able to vocalize, hey, the fact that I integrated this new data and you don't have to go out and grab it yourself is saving the business 3 hours a week of somebody's time to go out and do that. If you are, for example, the example that I used recently was, if in one of the projects that I had done in the past, we were taking D&B data. For those of you that don't know what D&B is, go out and research it. But we were taking D&B data for businesses, right? D&B data is business data, like corporation data and even small business data, and enriching our lead data uh, with that information, and then pushing that data. Doing our data engineering. I was doing my data engineering piece, doing the ETL um, and all the aggregations and stuff, and putting it into our data warehouse. But in turn, we were also doing the reverse engineering, right? The reverse ETL. And I was actually pushing that enriched lead data back into Salesforce so that our salespeople didn't have to spend that 30 minutes or an hour on each lead to research each of their um, each of their leads before they made their phone calls. So being able to demonstrate and vocalize and communicate that back to the business of, hey, I'm doing this, it's saving us 30 minutes per lead times X number of leads a month, and it's results in this many man hours saved. In addition, we are also closing a X% higher uh, of our phone calls, and that's in turn translating to X more dollars of revenue per month that we're getting, right? So being able to vocalize and communicate that back to the business is important. Not just for like interviews. It's super important for interviews, right? Because those are the kinds of things that are going to get you a job. But it's also incredibly important for when you're doing your reviews with your managers, being able to vocalize what the business value of your work is back to your manager, so that that manager could take that and get you a higher raise, get you a higher rating on your review, things like that. I spent 14 years at AT&T doing that, and 13 out of the 14 years I got a far exceeds on my review. The other year it was a exceeds, and it was because I had a brand new boss like 2 months before the review, and he just didn't know me very well. But data is timeless. Yes, infinity is real, man. Uh, Data is always there. Looking for software domain jobs. I think they're kind of section. Not sure how much to be future proof. From also starting to learn data. Yeah, I think that's a great concept, great idea. I honestly see a lot of software developers move into data engineering as well. Probably not analytics, but engineering, because so much of what a software developer does translates into data engineering, right? The programming pieces, the concepts, kind of the OOP concepts, right? The object oriented programming concepts really do a good job of relating. Um, a data engineer that has a software developer mindset really does incredibly well in comparison to one that maybe doesn't have that programming background. Um, because those of us that have that, we have learned how to make things modular. We have learned how to make things dynamic, so that, for instance, one of my recent projects, I came in and they were creating a new connection for each individual file that they were ingesting. Um, and so that's not sustainable. It's not scalable, and it's definitely not automated. Right, having to create a new connection every time a new file comes in with a different name. So, uh, so I took a lot of that and made it dynamic and value driven. But yeah, one difference is that I'm 25 years in my yeah, me too. Um, Man, 25 years ago, yeah, we just didn't have the things that we have now. Son Campbell Nathan. Speaking as a full stack developer, all software, especially OOP software, depends on normalized relational data stores. Yes, um, I agree. Dynamic and value driven. That's cooking. It so oh my god, so many things get hard coded. Please, for those of you that are new to data, and when you are creating your ETL or ELT or writing scripts or processes, whatever you're writing, don't hard code things. Make things table driven. Make things dynamic. Don't um, don't 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 hard code things, um, especially business logic. Please don't hard code business logic in processes, um, because I promise you it's going to change. And when it changes, it means a whole new development life cycle. And if you make it table driven, then it doesn't have to be a whole new development life cycle to get a change to business logic processed. But yeah, you guys are wizards. uh, yeah, sure. It that's funny. One of the things that I think one of the comments I made on one of my videos uh, this past week, maybe the analytics to engineer video was, one of my favorite things about being a data engineer is that when I do something, people look at me like I'm a wizard, right? They look at me like it's just magic. Um, that was one of the things that probably has driven me in my career is doing things for people, and then they're like, oh my god, I've spent 5 hours of my week for years doing this, and now I don't have to do it anymore. That you're amazing. And uh, so that's one of my favorite things, is that people just think um, that we're wizards. Anybody that has some programming skills, um, they see us as wizards, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. That's what provides us uh, with job security and Nathan. Nice. Um, just don't cast fireball in a small room, and you're fine. But differential equations in the movie Inception. Inception is another reference that I came up with, that I put into one of my videos earlier this week. So yeah. that happens, right? You it, I think the specific reference was not a positive reference for Inception, but it was more along the lines of accidentally creating a Cartesian join that created like a you know a 10 million row output and killed your production environment. So don't Inception yourself if you can. But we're talking about D&B, not D&D. Yeah, I mean a little bit of both. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of both. Guys, you all are always here, and I love that you all are here. I thank you so much. I love these conversations. It is great. But I see several other people on. You all comment too. Let us know that you're here. Um, feel it. I prefer Inception to Cartesian. Absolutely, every day of the week. Uh, yeah, yeah. Nobody wants a nobody wants to be Cartesian. That's you accidentally do that. That might be a good walk out the door, depending on what the impacts are to the business. No good. Awesome. For those of you, the rest of you that are out there, let me know that you're here. Say hi. Um, let me know if y'all have any questions. Uh, don't be uh, Nathan and Nikhil are both awesome. Uh, Raphael, thank you for joining us this evening. Great. Everybody's had some great questions. Yeah. I mean, um, I was it, it being humble is yeah. Welcome everybody. Um, I think that I read something earlier. I read an article this week, and it said that like data engineers were really egotistical, and like that was a common trait of data engineers, and I just don't agree with that. I think that that's not been my experience. My experience is that data engineers uh, and developers, I think that we spend our days looking at errors so often. I mean, I promise you, I write something every day that when I hit submit or hit run for the first time, it fails, and it's probably because I put a comma somewhere wrong or something stupid. But sometimes it's because I am doing something new. If you're not right, yeah, I agree. How can you be a data engineer or a developer that has done this for any amount of time and have uh, any level of ego? I get. I've run into a few people right out of college that think that they know everything, right? They've been through college, they've got their degree. I know it, and I know it now, and um, and they walk in and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got this," and they yeah, your experience equals my age. Yeah, yeah. Um, I run into some of those that right out of college they think they know everything, and there's a little bit of ego there, but usually that's beat out of them pretty quick by some senior that shows them up in their first PR because they uh, you know it didn't I wrote an update statement and didn't put any where clauses in it, and they're updating a table that has 10 million records. Um, Probably all to a department that is the same for every record. Um, but might be too soon. Might be too soon. they all got they all had to send their 5 things that they did this weekend, so, um, that one's probably too soon. So, but yeah, I don't see it. I think that data engineers and analysts and developers are not egotistical. I think that you can't be. I think you have to be humble. I think that it's incredibly important to be humble. I think that, and to be fair, there have been, um, yeah, everybody, welcome to the party. I continue to see people jump in. So, y'all jump into the conversation. This is a active uh, AMA. We usually, by this point in the AMA, I'm about an hour in. Uh, we're just taking questions now. Whatever questions you have about data, throw them in. We're all here to help. Several, some of us have been doing this for a while. Some of some people are, just looking to get into data engineering or data analytics, and but we're all here to help each other. So let us know what questions you have. Uh, and and to to the points that we've talked about, uh, we're a pretty humble group. We know that we don't know it all. We know that there are new things, and uh, there's been plenty of times when I've learned something from somebody that's been doing this for a couple years, um, and then there's been one of the ways I think one of the ways that I stay humble is one by running into so many errors and being frustrated with myself, but but also by mentoring, right? Um, so what about getting into AI generative being Gen AI being a data engineer? It like see, Nathan's on top of it. If you're into it, you're into it. If you're chasing money or influence or something, that's all. Not just some because there's powers in here about ego. Then oh yeah. I agree. Um, AI generative engineer. Yeah, I honestly I wish I knew more about that career path. I just don't know a lot about it right now. It's new, right? I mean, it's just I think that um I see them recruiting data engineers into that career path. Um but but I don't know about how to get into it aside from get going out there and doing projects, right? Uh, there's a couple of projects that I've personally done with Gen AI using prompting is our current future. Lord, I hope not too much. Yeah, we're all going to be prompt engineers. Um, but go out there and do some projects. The Anthropic and ChatGPT or OpenAI um, platforms are not too expensive. You could get out there and play with some small stuff and do some small projects without too much cost. But I would go out there and play with them. I've done projects on both. I did a video, a couple of videos. One on how I took Anthropic and OpenAI and wrote some Python scripts that I would prompt it for a synthetic data set for a million rows, and I would give it some, prompts about what type of data I wanted and feed both of them and see how long it took both of them to process uh I timed them and kind of, but I did both of them at the same time, kind of side by side, so that you could see what the differences were. It and I got a better data set from Anthropic. It took a little bit longer, but it was a little bit more robust of a synthetic data set. So, but go out there and do some projects. They're fun. You get in there and play with it. It's cool. Gen AI does a better and better job, especially Anthropic, uh, which is the Claude, right? Um, Anthropic does a good job with the coding side, um, and you do a lot of generative um, coding with that too. So awesome, guys! We're at the bottom of the hour. So if y'all have any final questions, again, thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you all. Let me know if you have any final questions. Other than that, we will. I look forward to seeing y'all again next week. Uh, I know it's getting to be people's spring break time, so I hope that you join me again next week. Absolutely, guys. Thank you again. I'm gonna let you all get back to it, but I appreciate you all being here. Thank you, and I always enjoy it. And Nathan, again, really be sure to let me know when you get something going, and we'll have you back on, and you can show us what you got. All right, talk to y'all again next week. Thanks, guys.